What if I told you that one of the most powerful branding stories in modern history started with a failed t-shirt business, a near-bankrupt entrepreneur, and a single logo scribbled on a napkin? That behind some of the biggest product launches you've ever seen is a man most people have never heard of, yet his branding empire now helps generate over $1 billion in combined brand value every single year. This is not a tale of flashy celebrity founders or viral social media hacks. This is the real, raw, mysterious story of Johnny Earl, the mastermind behind Johnny Cupcakes, and how he built a cult brand that defied every rule in retail, seduced the psychology of consumer behavior, and turned a simple idea into a global movement. Johnny wasn't born into wealth. Far from it. He was a high school kid with a love for punk rock and a hustle that never stopped. He tried odd jobs, got fired from most, and when he started screen printing shirts as a joke, he never expected it to change his life. But branding doesn't care about where you start. Branding, real branding, is about emotion, identity, and the story you make people tell themselves. And that's where Johnny became a silent billionaire. You see, he printed the words, Johnny Cupcakes, on a shirt as a prank, combining his nickname with a random bakery theme. Friends laughed, strangers asked questions, and soon, he noticed something odd. People wanted the shirt. Not because of what it was, but because of how it made them feel. He wasn't selling t-shirts. He was selling curiosity, identity, belonging, and he doubled down. No traditional advertising, no retail partnerships, no compromises. He made every store look like a bakery. Cupcake-scented air. Employees dressed like bakers. T-shirts sold in pastry boxes. People lined up for hours not for fashion, but for a feeling. Johnny understood something most brands miss. People don't buy products. They buy stories about themselves. They buy meaning. And when you control that story, you control the market. His customers became evangelists. His logo, a skull and crossbones with a cupcake on top, became a secret handshake for creatives, outsiders, and dreamers. But here's where it gets psychological. Johnny tapped into exclusivity. Limited edition drops. Surprise collections. No restocks. Every purchase became an emotional high. People had to have it. It wasn't just clothing. It was a badge of who you were. The product became secondary. And when the product becomes secondary to the feeling you create, you've mastered branding. Johnny Cupcake stores didn't just sell merchandise. They created immersive experiences. And it wasn't just fun. It was strategic. Every scent, every sound, every visual was a trigger, designed to form memory loops in the brain that associate the brand with joy, mystery, and anticipation. Subliminal cues, emotional priming, pattern interruption. He used psychological tools that billion-dollar brands pay consultants to execute. But Johnny, he figured it out through intuition, observation, and obsession. The twist: he turned down multiple offers from investors who wanted to take it mainstream. Why? Because he knew that scale can kill mystery. He knew that too much availability ruins desire. And that's the lesson too many entrepreneurs forget. Success isn't about being everywhere. It's about being unforgettable. And here's what no one tells you. Branding is not about logos. It's about memory. It's about how you make people feel when they encounter your name, your product, your vibe. Johnny didn't have a massive team or millions in ad spend. He had a story. A weird, wonderful story people could insert themselves into. That's why his customers tattooed the logo on their bodies. That's why grown adults cried when stores opened. Because branding, real branding, taps into identity at a primal level. It whispers you belong here and makes you crave more. It builds tribes. And that, my friend, is power. That is wealth. That is the secret you're not taught in business school. Now imagine this. What if you started branding your business, your message, your story with the same emotional precision? What if your audience didn't just like your brand, but felt it? You don't need millions to do this. You need alignment. You need clarity. And you need consistency. The 3 pillars of emotional branding. First, alignment. What do you stand for? And does every single touchpoint reflect that? Second, clarity. Are you speaking directly to the people who need to hear your message, or are you lost in the noise? Third, consistency. Are you showing up with the same energy, the same emotion, the same promise every time? Johnny did this with a cupcake. What can you do with your story? If this speaks to you, it's not an accident. Your subconscious is telling you something. You're meant for more. And this is your moment to start building a brand that speaks before you do. Hit that like button right now if you feel it. Comment, "My brand has power," below to lock it in. Subscribe if you want to be reminded daily that you're building something legendary. And don't forget to play our How You Can playlist in the background as you create, brainstorm, or even sleep. Because those messages, those affirmations, they're designed to rewire your mind into that of a branding master. This is not just a video. This is a portal, a blueprint, a reminder that your story matters. Your brand is your legacy. And the people who win are not always the ones with the loudest voice, but the ones who say the right thing to the right people with the right emotion. The power of branding isn't in being seen. It's in being remembered. So now the question is, what will your brand whisper when you're not in the room? Start today. Share your message. Build your tribe. And join us on the journey, because we're unlocking billionaire secrets every single week. And this is just the beginning.